It's been 1 month with the Pixel 8 Pro, Google's latest attempt at joining the upper echelon of the smartphone market, and it's been an interesting experience so far. There are definitely elements about this flagship device that I feel really illustrates the maturity and growth of the Pixel lineup as a whole, and it's no doubt one of the best phones Google has ever put forward. It checks a lot of the boxes on the long list of smartphone must-haves, which is great, and I said this in my first impressions video, the Pixel 8 Pro to me really is representative of Google getting kind of weird again. It's full of all these unique and interesting features, many of which have never been seen on a smartphone. Now, 1 month later, does this all come together to make the Pixel 8 Pro a player against the likes of the Galaxy S23 Ultra or the iPhone 15 Pro? Well, let's talk about that. And let's start with the Pixel 8 Pro's design. Much like all the other flagships this year, Google focused on making minor iterative changes rather than a complete overhaul, which I know could seem boring at first glance, but there are some notable improvements here that I'd be remiss if I didn't cover. Number 1, the Pixel 8 Pro finally has a non-glossy finish on the back, following the trend that the other big flagships have from a design standpoint, and even though it is late to the party, I do appreciate this change. Another minor change is how Google managed the camera housing on the back. It still has that signature pixel ledge, but rather than separating out the cameras like it did last year, it now houses all of them in one large oval, which I feel is a bit cleaner. All of this is integrated together by a high-quality aluminum frame, making for a premium feel in the hand. Probably my favorite new design element is the implementation of a completely flat display. Again, it makes the phone a little easier to operate, and it makes the Pixel 8 Pro look more refined than its previous iterations. Now, important thing to note, 1 month later, even though this is a beautifully put together device, it's highly susceptible to scratches despite being equipped with Gorilla Glass Victus 2. I'm not exactly sure how Google colors their glass, but it almost looks like it's flaking off here, which is weird as I'm pretty good at being gentle with my devices. Plus, the polished frame and the camera bar in the Pixels are pretty notorious for being soft and showing micro scratches super easily, and it's no exception here. Long story short, if you want the Pixel 8 to have that fresh out of the box look for extended periods of time, you're gonna want to slap on a case and some kind of camera ledge protection. If you don't, you're gonna run the risk of this thing getting pretty chewed up otherwise. But let's talk a little bit more about the display. It's a pretty massive 6.7-inch OLED panel that takes up the entirety of the front of the phone, minus the hole punch cutout for the selfie camera, and all to say, it's pretty fantastic. First of all, it comes in a full HD plus resolution, making for around 489 pixels per inch, so everything is clear and tack sharp. It also supports HDR content and renders colors really well. It gives you excellent contrast with those inky blacks, and because the screen is so large with this nice uniform bezel, you get a really immersive viewing experience. Plus, this is Google's new Super Actuate display that has a new peak brightness of 2400 nits, which is really helpful for the times you need to use your phone in direct sunlight, a move that, again, feels like an intentional step towards aligning with the other main flagships out there. Probably my favorite thing about the display is going to be its high refresh rate. The Pixel 8 Pro has a 120Hz variable refresh rate, and it works really well, quite an improvement from some of the earlier attempts Google tried on other devices. You get consistently smooth scrolling and animations with minimal throttling, and it makes using the Pixel 8 Pro a much more luxurious experience. The display is also equipped with an embedded fingerprint sensor for biometric security. It's the same optical sensor Google has been using for a long time now, and it gets the job done is the best way that I could put it. It's not the fastest or as sophisticated as something like the ultrasonic sensors the Galaxy uses, but it's easy to set up and use, and again, it gets the job done. But let's talk a bit deeper around how the hardware on the Pixel 8 Pro coincides with its overall performance. It's a pretty important question as Google has made a lot of big promises with this phone. So first and foremost, the Pixel 8 Pro is equipped with the latest Tensor G3 chip, the third generation of Google's in-house mobile processor, which generally speaking has been kind of underwhelming. And I want to be fair around that comment because it's not to suggest that the performance on the Pixel 8 Pro is bad. From a day-to-day perspective, it's going to give most users a decent experience where apps open quickly and can stay open in the background for a good amount of time. Spec-heavy gaming is pretty jitter-free and maintains its high refresh rate to make the experience quite engaging. And what Google can do when it comes to voice capture, translation, and image processing, these are no doubt pillars to the Pixel experience that all require a good amount of horsepower that I don't want to undersell. But where Google seems to struggle is with execution. Yes, most of these features are impressive, but many of them are glaringly bad when it comes to how they operate. For example, the new Magic Editor feature that basically lets you modify your pictures using AI. It's an interesting concept, but trying to use it is so frustrating because it takes forever for even the smallest edit to process, to the point where even if the change comes out good, which oftentimes it doesn't, it still wouldn't make it worth it because it's so freaking slow. And look, we have to talk about this weird thermometer that Google decided to put on the back, and I'll give it to them for creativity, but I'm just gonna say it, this thing goes straight into the gimmick bucket for me. Not only are the readings inconsistent and difficult to trust, 1 month later, I really didn't have a need nor an urge to use it, which makes me wonder why Google thought this would be a good idea. And all of these things require a good amount of power, and battery life on the Pixel hasn't always been the best, and it's not bad on the Pixel 8 Pro. I'm getting a little over 7 hours of screen on time after a month of use. It's enough to get me through a full day, but I did expect better given the phone's dimensions and hopes for better efficiency with the G3. Now, I will say some of the new AI features are cool and they work very well. For example, the ability to have Google Assistant read an article to you is pretty impressive, even though it's probably more of a parlor trick at this point than an actual useful feature. Moreover, the ability to create your own wallpaper is really fun and surprisingly easy to do, but 1 month later, I have to admit, I haven't used it as much as I thought I would. Now, one new feature that I totally thought was going to be a gimmick that actually turned out to be one of the most useful has been this new best take thing. This allows you to change the faces in a group photo if multiple shots were taken, and it sounds nuts, but it actually works really well and it's a really smart feature. I mean, think about it. Every time you take a group photo, it's like instant to take at least like 15 shots, and even though that is a lot, it's really hard to find one where everyone came out good. So it's great being able to copy and paste people's faces to semi-artificially create a best take, and I was surprised at how clean and normal these edits came out. But let's talk about how the cameras on the Pixel 8 Pro perform overall when it comes to day-to-day use. When it comes to still image photography, this phone delivers on the name that it bears, as pictures look fantastic. I still think that the Pixel gives some of the best image quality available on any smartphone to date in the easiest way possible. You really don't have to overthink a shot, just press the shutter button and you're likely going to walk away with a really good photo almost every time. Now, there has been some criticism around this phone over processing the image to where you get some artifacting and perhaps it not having the most natural look, and personally I haven't experienced anything egregious over the month I've been using the Pixel 8 Pro. Yes, these aren't going to be as natural looking as the photos coming out of the iPhone, but there are many people who prefer this more stylized look, and I think it still could be argued that this phone is very high up there when talking camera quality overall. And probably the area of the camera for me that I feel has shown the most improvement is the video quality on the Pixel 8 Pro, which honestly was a surprise. And I say it that way because it kind of felt like Google really didn't care about this area of the phone up to this point. Any effort being made all seemed to be focused on their still image photography. So seeing this level of 4K video that is noticeably sharper and more color accurate and could finally shoot in 24 frames per second, thank you Google, is such a breath of fresh air. Now, is it as good as what the iPhone could do? No, it's not in the same league, but it's probably some of the best video I've seen coming out of any Android device, and that says a lot. I'm hoping that Google continues to make these improvements and perhaps get a jump on making the Pixel the best in both photo and video, and I could see that being a really strong way of making the Pixel lineup a lot more intriguing to consumers. So overall, 1 month later, it's been an up and down ride with the Pixel 8 Pro. I do give credit to Google for getting their latest phone more aligned with industry standards while also having the guts to try stuff no one else ever has. It just seems as though it's not that perfect mix yet. And remember, this phone got an increase in the price as it now starts at $999 US, and I gotta be honest, I think at that price, the Pixel 8 Pro could be better. Now, it should be noted that Google has promised an unprecedented 7 years of software and security updates, which is pretty insane and definitely adds to this phone's value proposition. But at the end of the day, I am going to be hard on Google, mainly because I do see a lot of potential with where they're going. I'm hoping that the company focuses on refining what they have for a better offering next year. But hey, that's just me, and I want to know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the Pixel 8 Pro? Are you guys fans of Google's newest flagship device? Or are you left wanting more like me? Curious to get your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And in case you guys missed my comprehensive reviews of the new iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro lineup, check out these videos here. They're going to help you be as informed as possible.